So a common problem amongst video editors who are actually pretty good is not being able to come up with ideas for animations or visuals in general. I've had quite a few guys say to me that they know how to use Premiere, they know how to use After Effects, they know how to turn their ideas into reality, but problem is they just don't have those ideas. And I've been there too. But after editing for more than 3 years and turning this thing from just a hobby into something I do full time, I can tell you that the thing that helped me make the most progress is having my edits do well on Twitter. And why did they do well? Well, it's exactly the topic of today's video: creativity and being able to just come up with the unique ideas for animations, visuals, and stuff like that. By the way, you can check my Twitter and my portfolio in the description so that you decide if you even want to listen to me. So, it was August 2023. I was making around 3K per month at that point, and I was just drowning in client work. I remember I had 3 videos that I need to finish in the next few days, or otherwise I'm just gonna miss the deadlines, right? But I have this guy reach out to me on Twitter and say to me if I'm available for more client work, which I really wasn't, but he was a good client. I wanted to work with him. And also he was willing to pay me 500 per video, which was above my usual rate back then. So I said, yeah, let's do it. And he wanted me to do a trial for him. But the problem is he wanted me to deliver the trial the next day. I said, well, sure, okay, I'm probably not gonna have enough time to do something crazy to showcase my skills in the best light, but whatever, I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna try to make something of it. So the next day I sent him the trial. I spent maybe like 2 hours on it, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours on the full intro. It was 1.5 minutes, I'm pretty sure. And he comes back to me a couple of hours later with a video message. He's proper hyped. He's saying how I'm the best editor in the world and how he would love to work with me because the intro that I've sent to him is just insanely good. Now, keeping that story in mind, the completely opposite thing happened to me a bit more recently, like half a year or so ago. So this client that I've been working with for a very long time, we're about to make just another video together, right? And I'm so hyped about this video because first of all, I'm getting paid a lot of money, like in thousands. I have a lot of time to deliver this project. I have lots of footage to play around with, stuff like that. I'm just gassed about this video. I'm gonna make it the best video that the world has ever seen, right? So what happens is I get the footage, the deadline is a week and a half, and because I was so ecstatic about this video, I just get into the nitty-gritty right away. I'm starting to create these like all the unique animations, making them pixel perfect, spending shit ton of time on it. And then maybe a week later, I realized that I have maybe first couple of minutes done, if that, and I have another like 10 minutes to go. That is gonna take me way more time than I thought it would. So I ended up just missing the deadline. And the funniest thing is, those first couple of minutes of the video that I spent a week on, we ended up remaking the script, so I really had to redo the whole thing. But the story has a happy ending as well, because I was again under the deadline pressure for that new intro that I was remaking. It actually turned out really well, and again, I wasn't trying to make the most creative edits in the world, I was just trying to get the video done. So keeping these two stories in mind, and really countless more than I have of when I wasn't really trying, I mean, I was still trying to make the best video possible, it's just I wasn't trying to be creative. I was just trying to make the video nice to watch for the viewer so that my client is happy. But really, in those scenarios, I ended up producing some of my best work ever that ended up doing both well on clients' YouTube and on my Twitter. So I really think that the first kind of rule of being creative and coming up with unique animations and stuff like that is not trying to be creative and not putting pressure on yourself to be creative. There's this thing called the backwards law, and it basically says that the more you pursue something, the more of the opposite you get to what you want. And I really think that it's super applicable to this scenario of creativity in video editing. Instead of going kind of all in on the intro of the video, spending shit ton of time on it, trying to make it the best as you can, do all the essential and boring stuff first. Stuff that really makes the video watchable in the first place. So nice cuts, essential animations and B-rolls that convey the story of the video and help the viewer to get the point of the video. And then you can start thinking about adding fancy and unique stuff. Because also what I found is that boring and essential stuff always ends up taking way more time than I expected it to. So it's really nice to get that done first. And trust me, your client is going to be way happier if you deliver the video on time instead of trying out 100 new different techniques. And by the way, I used to think that client just wants to see something new every single video, and without that, they're not going to be happy and they're going to think that the video is bad. But it really isn't the case. Just think about musicians, for example, like, I don't know, Drake. He makes rap music, and people that like listening to his music, they're not expecting R&B from him or something, and they're not complaining about how it's rap every single time, because that's exactly what they like. And also there is this rule where something needs to be just 3% different of what it was before to be considered unique. So really, if we apply that to video editing, all you have to do to make the video seem unique or to make it actually unique is make maybe one cool animation in the intro, and really the rest of the video can be kind of similar to what you had before, and it's going to be completely fine, because that's just how we operate as humans. When we like something, we just want to get more of it in the same way, not something completely different. And by the way, just to add to that, if you make that one cool animation in the intro, that's also gonna be enough for you to post that intro on your Twitter and for it to do well. So it's really a win-win for both you and the client. They're happy because they got exactly what they expected from you and how they like their videos edited. And you got a nice piece of content for your Twitter, and you obviously got the money and better relationship with client and so on and so on. Alright, so we've talked about the mindset of being creative, and just to quickly recap, you don't want to put pressure on yourself to be creative because of the backwards law. The opposite is going to happen. And also, it's not that deep because something needs to be just 3% different from what people are used to be considered creative. But now let's talk about more of the technical aspect of creativity and actually coming up with ideas for animations. And here the main rule, I think, is to just literally try to represent visually what's being said in the video. There are obviously different ways to do it. The quickest and simplest, and I don't want to say the worst, but I would say the least creative way to do it is subtitles. The thing with subtitles is they can be good, just don't overuse them. And really, it's not something that's gonna make you stand out and make clients just want to pay you shit ton of money. Another thing that I very rarely use is stock footage, just because it's very corporate, it has no character to it, and usually it takes away from the video rather than adding in. And really, two types of visuals that I use most often and I think are just the best to convey the point of the video are custom B-rolls and motion graphics. Custom B-rolls include the B-rolls that the client gives you. They're much better than stock footage just because they have your clients in them most likely or something related to them. But a huge part of custom B-rolls that video editors for some reason don't do nearly enough is the things that you can actually create yourself. For example, in the video, it's been talked about, I don't know, an Instagram post. You can literally go on Instagram.com, find that post, take a screenshot of it, and then adjust it to what's being talked about in the video. If, for example, in the video it's about how this post got a lot of likes, then what you do is you take that screenshot, you see the amount of likes there, you go ahead, you replace that with your custom text, and you make it to whatever you need to. And I really think that this type of B-roll is so underutilized, but at the same time so good. I use it all the time. I do all types of Google search B-rolls. I do all types of Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Reddit, just all sorts of things you can imagine you can do digitally. I make B-rolls of them and put them in videos if they obviously represent what's being talked about in the video. And obviously motion graphics is just a king of visuals because it's fully customizable, it's completely up to you, you can tailor it to exactly what you need in this exact video, in this exact moment, and this is what makes it so good. But the problem is creating motion graphics takes a lot of time, and really they're not needed anywhere. They're very, very good for explaining some kind of technical things, but I feel like motion graphics are overutilized and custom B-rolls are underutilized. So my advice here would be to listen to what's being said in the video, I mean obviously, and then try to visually represent, summarize that for the viewer to kind of guide them through what's being said in the video. So for example, for this video, I'm not gonna edit it. I'm not gonna add any visuals just because I can't be bothered to edit my own videos. But if I were to, then I would split, remember how I talked about the mindset part of being creative and now the technical part of being creative? So I would split those two, and then under the mindset, I would add whichever points I talked about. So it was stop putting pressure on yourself, and then it's not that deep, you just need to be 3% different. I would add those, and then under the technical part, I would maybe list all the types of visuals that I talked about. So subtitles, stock footage, custom B-rolls, and then motion graphics. I would list their pros and cons as I say them in the video, and I would maybe even put them in some kind of hierarchy, like what's better and what's worse and what you guys really should use in the videos. These visuals would really help the viewers, so you, digest the information. Because I don't have these visuals, I always need to go back and kind of repeat myself just to make sure that you understand. But with these visuals, you can just guide the viewer through visually and make the video easily digestible and understandable. And my last point today is gonna be that it's fine to just let the A-roll play sometimes. Like, you don't need to have visuals all over the video. Really, what makes the viewers watch the video is what's being said in the video rather than your fancy edits. Like, for example, you hopefully still are watching this video. It's probably gonna be like 3 people max at this point. But anyway, you're still watching this video and there wasn't a single visual in this video, but you're still watching it just because of the stuff I'm saying, just because you think this stuff is valuable for you, right? And that's exactly how every video on YouTube works. Viewers don't watch the video because of your visuals. You surely can make it more engaging and, again, easier to digest and understand for the viewer. But if you just don't know for the life of you how to represent what's being said in the video at this current point, this point either doesn't need any representation, it's fine by itself, just let the A-roll play, or, and this is actually a pretty cool trick that I've learned, you might even just want to remove this line because it kind of does not add anything. I understand that sometimes you don't have the creative freedom to add and remove, rearrange the lines of what's being said in the video because it is exactly how your client wants it to be. Then just leave it as it is. But if you have the creative freedom, then literally think about removing that line. But anyway, that's it for today. I appreciate you sticking to the very end. Click at the video you see on screen right now because then you're gonna learn which 3 main lessons I've learned from charging $2,000 per single video. And if you want to see how I apply all the advice that I gave today, you can go and check my Twitter and my portfolio in the description to see my work. See ya!